Good evening. This is a personal and ethical dilemma assignment on navigating team values during Oxfam Trail Walker, presented by Viktorija Rutkauskaite. For this reflection, I am employing Gibbs' reflective cycle as described by Jasper 2006, which provides a structured framework to examine personal experiences. I'll begin with description of what happened during the Oxfam Trail Walker event, analyze why it happened through various theoretical perspectives, and conclude with the outcomes and future actions I've identified. As Sean 1983 notes in his work on reflective practice, this process allows professionals to make meaning from the experiences and apply learning to future scenarios. I recall first encountering Oxfam Trail Walker participants 12 years ago and feeling immediately drawn to this endurance challenge. As Deci and Ryan 2000 self-determination theory suggests, this represents an instinct motivation, something genuinely desired to accomplish rather than an externally imposed goal. When I learned that 2024 would host the final Trail Walker ever, I felt compelled to act. I remember experiencing what Bassi et al. 2013 quoted as flow, that moment when opportunity and readiness align. I gathered four friends, all mothers with varying fitness levels, who shared casual walking experiences before. Our team was informally established with no specific performance targets beyond completion. Our team initially went through Tuckman's 1965 forming stage, marked as politeness and task focus. We built shared identity as local moms attempting something huge, Touch Fell and Turner 2010, which fostered psychological safety essential for learning, Edmondson 2005. Adding a sixth member too soon disrupted this process, causing a subtle shift in our group identity, showing the fluid nature of the group prototypes, Hogg and Reed 2006. Looking back, I recognize that our team experienced what Jen 1995 terms value conflict different conceptualizations of what matters most in our shared endeavor. The new member immediately focused on performance metrics like walking speed and meeting punctuality, whereas the original members prioritized relationship aspects. Based on my personal beliefs and experiences, I found this jarring but avoided addressing this directly, exhibiting what Thomas Kilman conflict mode instrument would classify as accommodating behavior. I recall feeling unsettled by this shift, but telling myself, this is fine, we can incorporate different approaches. In retrospect, this represented what Argyris 2002 calls a gap between my exposed theory and theory in use. My dilemma moment occurred 15 kilometers into the actual walk when one team member fell on a sandy terrain. While I instinctively stopped to help, our newest member continued ahead with two others, saying they would wait at the next checkpoint. My injured friend, embarrassed and in pain, expressed a desire to quit. I remember experiencing what Inciting Ruthworth Kidder as Royal 1995 analyzes, calling it right versus right dilemma, competing values of achievement and loyalty, both valid but both mutually exclusive in that moment. I felt torn between my long held dream of completing this challenge and my commitment to support a friend in distress. This situation exemplifies what Keegan and Leahy 2001 term competing commitments, explicit commitment to compete the walk versus implicit commitment to team solidarity. In the moment of decision, I found myself applying multiple ethical frameworks. From utilitarian perspective described by Mills 22, I questioned whether maximizing team completion rates represented the greatest good. Through Kantian lens, Kant 1993, I considered my duty towards my teammates, both those ahead and those fallen. Virtue ethics, as articulated by Carpenter 2011, prompted me to ask what a person of good character would do in this situation. This ethical complexity exemplifies what McKinney and Badarako 99 quoted as defining moments, situations that test not just what we do, but who we are. For me, this situation resonated strongly with Gilligan's 2003 Ethics of Care, which prioritizes relationships and responsiveness to others' needs over abstract principles. I recall thinking, I cannot leave someone behind who needs support. This aligns with team cohesion theory, which Shaw et al. 2005 define as dynamic process reflected in tendency for a group to stick together and remain united in pursuit of its goals and objectives. Through the lens of social exchange theory, Theo Jig 1967, I was intuitively calculating the relations cost versus the achievement benefits. In this process, my own values hierarchy became evident to me. I valued supportive relationships more highly than personal achievement. I chose to stay with my injured teammate, encouraging her to continue at a manageable pace. This decision reflects what Cuthbert et al. 2015 terms empathic concern on other oriented emotional response congruent with the perceived welfare of another person. Together we completed 40 kilometers, a significant achievement given the circumstance. After resting and changing clothes, I attempted to rejoin the advanced group but found myself repeatedly falling behind. This experience was particularly challenging for me as it represented what Glassford et al. 2008 would call cognitive dissonance. My self concept as both a supportive friend and determined achiever was being tested. Upon rejoining the advanced group, I experienced what can be explained through social identity theory, Touchfell and Turner, 2010, as in-group out-of-group dynamics. The advanced group had formed their own identity, and now I was positioned as an outsider. I found this particularly difficult when the new members made pointed comments about my pace slowing them down and questioned my supplies. Based on my personal beliefs and experiences, these comments felt like microaggressions, as defined by Sue et al. 2007, brief, commonplace, verbal indignities that communicate hostile or negative slides. I believe this represented what Rousseau 95 terms as a breach of psychological contract. The unwritten expectations we had about mutual support were violated. The culminating moment occurred when I found myself 100 meters behind in complete darkness on the trail. I recall feeling a mix of emotions: disappointment, frustration, surprisingly, a relief. This experience aligns with how Harter 2002 describes as authenticity. My decision to call for pickup and withdraw at 47 kilometers felt true to my values despite not achieving my original goal. I remember thinking, this is not how I want to complete this challenge, feeling isolated and unwelcome. This represents what existential philosophers like Sartre, 2007, would call an authentic choice, accepting responsibility for defining one's own meaning in a situation. In reflecting on this experience, I've drawn meaning from what initially felt like failure. My 47-kilometer achievement represents what Venn 2006 would call a growth mindset moment, recognizing progress rather than fixating on falling short of perfection. Several team members later expressed gratitude for my support of the injured walker, which validated my choice. This aligns with the Paprok and Meserov 91 term perspective transformation, a process of making meaning from challenging experiences that lead to more inclusive and integrated worldviews. For me, the key insight was that team success can be measured not just by crossing the finish line, but by how members support each other through challenges. This experience exemplifies what Hinman 2008 terms as ethical pluralism, recognition that multiple valid ethical frameworks can apply to complex situations. The team conflict represents what Jen and Mannix 2001 identify as value conflict, disagreement about what group's real task or mission should be. Our team lacked what Mohammed et al. 2010 calls shared mental models, common understanding of goals, tasks, and coordination. Looking through Hofstede's 2011 cultural dimensions, I see elements of individualism versus collectivism at play. Some members prioritized individual achievements while others valued group cohesion. I find this analysis to be particularly valuable as it moves beyond simple correct, wrong dichotomies to appreciate the complexity of human motivation and interaction. This experience has transformed my approach to team endeavors. In future, I will explicitly discuss and establish team values and expectations before group formation, as recommended by Leading Teams Setting the Stage for Great Performances 2003 on team effectiveness. I'll be more intentional about team selection, choosing companions whose priorities align with mine. I now recognize the importance of what Shin 2010 calls addressing the cultural layer of groups, the underlying assumption and values that drive behavior. Most importantly, I've gained what Kubman et al. 22 would term enhanced emotional intelligence, a greater self awareness about my own values, hierarchy, and triggers. These insights will shape my approach to similar situations in professional and personal contexts. In conclusion, this experience reinforced the importance of aligning our inner values with our outer actions. Ethical dilemmas serve as mirrors reflecting our true values hierarchy. I've learned that successful teams require not just shared goals, but aligned expectations about how those goals should be pursued. My journey illustrates how multiple ethical frameworks can inform real world decisions and how personal authenticity, staying true to one's core values, ultimately provides compass through difficult terrain. As I continue my professional and personal development, I carry these insights with me, better equipped to navigate the complex landscape of human relationships and team dynamics.